Now this is the last meeting of the week. We have been doing a prelude of this meeting for a long time. You were saying that your week never ends.
Oh, it never ends. No, of course
Never.
not. Because that's what happens when you're in a global organization.
Yes.
Because time zones are different. We are in touch with people everywhere.
Yes.
And our Sunday here is somebody else's Saturday. And, so being in constant contact with people everywhere
Okay.
means that you never stop thinking about it.
It's true. So, and do you keep yourself to a schedule, or do you go Saturday, Sunday? Doesn't matter.
Oh, well, I try to relax on Saturdays and Sundays, but there's always something more to do, something more to think about, someone more to talk to.
Yes,
Really.
yes.
Because the communication, when you have a global organization, the communication is really, really important. We can organize and get over almost everything except time zones.
That is true.
So,
That
we
is
have
true,
to
that is true.
balance.
But you need to please share with me how you keep all of that energy, because when now I work in Asia Pacific, so for me it's kind of easy. But before I was working for an Italian company, and I was covering Oceania, Middle East, and North Africa. So my business trips in Middle East would try to, let's say, take advantage of every different resting day. At the end, I would happen to work for 2-3 weeks in a row, and I would be totally devastated. Now, so and you are full of energy all the time. When I was trying to organize this meeting with Lacey, you were always traveling. You always know, she's visiting all the different offices and so on. And I'm like, wow. And it was back in August, so it's like it was not even a high period. And I wanted to ask you, but I'm just gonna state it. I can feel it that you are having a lot of fun doing it.
Oh, yeah, I love what I do. I'm passionate about it.
No. I can feel it every since the first minute I entered this office. David said this is such a cool office, and you get that vibe of people being involved and people actually making things here. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. I want to make a little introduction. So today, for those of you who don't know, you should actually check yourselves. I'm talking with Moira Moser, founder of M Moser Associates. I've known you before I met you in person a few years ago through your studio, through the work that you do, and I had been growing in admiration. I studied when I was a supplier trying to reach your people and trying to introduce to them my products. I learned about your company, and then especially by trying to create a coherent conversation today, I studied a lot, all the material that you put out there, and I was in awe, because at the end of the day, I think what struck me is you go beyond the normal notion of what studio is.
Well,
and I think this is the
I'll
key.
catch you on that word.
Yes.
Studio. We are not a studio. We are a firm that provides services of value to our clients. And in that regard, we're a business.
Mm-hmm.
The only way we can continue to exist and to grow is to ensure that we are providing services of value to our clients.
Yes.
So we don't talk about ourselves as a studio. And we have a broad range of capabilities, not only design. And we need to provide all of these services to our clients so that they can achieve what they really want to have in their own workplaces.
I stand corrected. You
No,
are
I-
right.
I
You are
didn't
right. You are
mean
right.
it.
You are right. It was, let's say, it was a loose use for words, and is short for what you guys have going on in here. Before I get to that core, let's say, differentiating factor that M Moser has regarding other type of companies, and we'll get there very fast. But I want to know. This magnificent expansion from a 3-person office in Hong Kong to be now in 3 continents. I don't know. I think I counted them. I don't know if I counted them correctly. 16 offices around different countries. I don't know if the number is correct.
No, it's not quite that many.
Uh,
It's-
but we, but
but
let's
we,
say, but I'm not that far. Let's say I made that say my arithmetic is terrible. But in any case, to do this big expansion, where did you find the drive to start expanding and keep expanding today?
well, it started with me, of course, but now it happens with all of our people. And there are two parts of it. One is geographic expansion, which you're talking about, the number of offices around the world. But the other is the expansion in our disciplines, in the services that we can provide. So the first one, the geographic, it's driven by two things. One is when clients ask us repeatedly to help them in a particular part of the globe, right? Oh, well, maybe we ought to take a look at that. This is how we moved into China,
Okay.
of course. And the other is the other is when one of our really good people wants for a personal reason to move somewhere, we look at that.
Okay.
Because we know that good people are more difficult to find than good projects.
Is it?
Oh, yes. And they're more important to us in developing the capabilities that we can provide for our clients. There are a lot of projects out there, but bringing together a team of excellent people to actually help the clients achieve those projects,
Yes.
that's really the key.
I imagine it's fundamental for a business, for a thriving business, to find the right people. I imagine managing a scattered, talented team of professionals must be difficult. I mean, there must be a level of complexity that is on you to go and coordinate and, let's say, make everyone from New York to Los Angeles to Sydney to, of course, Hong Kong speak the same language. How do you get around that? And I'm telling you, I speak from a genuine curiosity, because in my little universe, I have to coordinate people in Japan, in China, and all of them, with communicating with headquarters in Italy, and it requires effort, active effort, and
Oh, yes.
your complexity is multiplied by a big factor. How do you? What strategies? What secrets can you share with me?
I don't think it's a secret, but I can tell you it all comes down to culture.
Okay.
Creating a culture of, I think the buzzword is inclusivity in a sense, but creating a culture where people help each other and want to help each other and share each other's successes and find ways of initiating new ideas that can bring them together. That takes constant communication. We are all in touch with each other globally. All of us are in touch with each other. We celebrate each other's successes, and we communicate that to all of our people. And as a result, we have people who say, oh, you're going after this opportunity. Can I help? I may be able to help because I may know somebody. Or here's a capability that we might be able to propose that would be really effective for this project.
Yeah.
So everyone feels included and everyone talks to one another. So building that culture of a single organization. I mean, many in our industry are siloed. They only do one thing. They only do design, or they only do engineering, or they only do electrical engineering, or whatever it may be. And they don't talk to each other. But we do.
Yeah.
We talk constantly and communicate constantly.
Yes.
I think you may have seen in this office, there are a lot of people on the screen communicating with someone somewhere else. We bring teams together of individuals from different places because our technology allows us to work together without necessarily having to be physically together.
Do you also do, I mean, I imagine that, by the way, for people that are going to listen or watch this conversation, uh, we are in one of the offices, the meeting rooms of the headquarters in Hong Kong. We will make you see all of the different, let's say, technological, I don't like to use the word secret, let's say resources or innovations that they have in the office, and it's also something that is quite intuitive, the fact that you have a big screen where different offices pop in at the same time and everyone can talk together. Do you, now that we passed a period in our lives in which physically we had to be separated, do you also foster physical communications, outings of the leadership? Is this something that can be done at
Oh,
a company
yes.
of your
Oh,
size?
yes. Oh, yes. It's more and more difficult to do it globally as a single group, but we do it regionally. We've just, uh, a week ago, I think it was, in Shenzhen, we brought together a lot of our people to talk about some of the new directions, some of the new initiatives that we are developing now. And that face to face communication is always the best. But when you have an entire globe
Yes.
and all these different time zones, you just cannot bring people together all
No.
together. And you don't want to just bring a few people together globally because, well, they get the message. Well, we've done that actually. We do. I should contradict myself. We do that. We had a session on this last trip when we were in San Francisco, and we had a session with a group of our senior leaders, and then we follow up with them to see how are they carrying forward the initiatives that we had discussed and agreed on there. So yes, there is face-to-face communication. That's always the best, but you can't always do it that way. So by the screen, the virtual communication, which is becoming more and more normal and typical,
Yep.
is really changing the way we work.
Yes.
It changes the way our clients work as well. And it changes the workplace they need because of that.
Yes. Yes, I imagine the workplace needs to lean into the need for discipline and ease of communication in creating these connections. The company I work for, it's a much smaller reality, and we find difficulties in creating these communications. I suffer them the most because I work 10,000 kilometers away from headquarters, so some of the information it just doesn't get here, and it requires constant. Again, being disciplined probably is the right way to put it. Staying on the subject of people, you have invented a new way of working that is an evolution of many different, let's say, epochs, many different periods in the recent history. When you started, how was the composition of the workforce at M Moser Associates when you started, and compared to now? How has the evolution been? I'm very curious about that.
Okay. Like any startup, when we were very small, everyone had to pitch in and do everything. So we were more or less generalists. Professional, capable, yes. And we got things done and we got them done well, but we were juggling our own passions with the other things that needed to be done, collaborating together to make it happen. As we grew, as we have grown, what we found is that we have roughly 4 broad disciplines. Planning, how is this project going to need to be done? Design, architecture, interiors, all of that. engineering the total environment within the workplace, and delivery. And we found that if, as we have more people, if they are able to focus on the particular area where they have a real passion, they can develop it in depth. They can find more ways to provide that portion of the service to the client in a really effective way, and better ways to collaborate with the other disciplines. So I don't know if does that sound like an answer to
No,
your
no, no, no,
question?
no, 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 no. It's very interesting. When it comes to particular, let's say, professional types. At the beginning, I imagine, again, you corrected me at the beginning. I called you studio. You said I am a firm. Because here I allow for the convergence of many different disciplines. And you spoke about the four main let's say the planning, architecture and design, engineer and delivery. Among all of this, let's say what were, just to make an example, some specialties that you have now, some specialists that are part of M Moser now, that at the beginning maybe they didn't even exist as a discipline.
Okay. Well, certainly the technology aspect, because when we started, there were no computers around.
No, that's true. That's true. That's true.
We did have these little things that you could calculate the numbers on. We had moved away from the slide rule. Do you remember? Do you know what a slide rule is?
Yes, yes, because I'm not that young. I'm not that young.
Okay.
And
But
yes.
no, really, it's, looking back at it, if I just think about, how in the world we did the American Country Club here in Titan.
Yeah.
We did in partnership with William Turnbull, the architect in San Francisco. And without computers, we did everything by hand. And every weekend we would be exchanging, using couriers across the Pacific, exchanging our information.
I see.
And I think, now, how in the world did we get it done?
Yes.
But we did.
No.
So you ask about what was not there when we started, it was the technology. Definitely.
I think no technology for sure. I think again, I invite you to correct me, but one of the approaches that firms like yours have adopted is, instead of just being transactional, as in I offer you something, you pay me for something. It's like, I want to create a design for my headquarters. On your case, you could give the drawings and that's it. Nowadays, when I was studying M Moser Associates and the vast list of materials that you have published, I see that there is one main attitude, which is the consultational ambition. It's like, you're not going to give me the briefing and I'm going to reply to the briefing with an output. We are going to together find a way to gather the most possible, the most precise possible set of information.
Right.
When did you discover that? When did you have this intuition that that was the right way to go?
Well, certainly, as an architect, my background has always been to understand the program. It used to be called a program, or to understand the brief, right? And it was very, very quickly that I could see that because we are providing our services to business people who are expert at what they do, and we respect that, of course, they don't really know what kind of information we need in order to provide the best services for them. So discovering the brief, which is what we actually do with our workplace strategy, in discussion with the client to understand in as much detail as possible what it is that they want to achieve with the particular project. That is really the foundation of how we can move ahead. There's no point in creating a design or proposing the solution to a project if you don't really understand what is the client trying to achieve. This is very basic. And I think that the understanding that we don't just accept a brief and say, okay, we'll give you the result from that. Because we don't expect our business clients to really know the kind of information that we require. I mean, when you go to the doctor and you say, oh, I have a problem here, and I think it might be this or it might be that, you don't expect the doctor to say, well, if you think that's what it is, here's the medicine for it. Right?
No. Despite the fact that I have a feeling that a lot of people now, they think they go to the doctor saying, doctor, I think I have this, because they go on the internet and they look it up. But I thought you're totally right. It's like, please solve me. Tell me what I need to tell. Ask me the right questions. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
exactly.
it makes total sense.
Yeah.
But now I am starting to get what you meant about, finding the right people or finding good people is more difficult than finding good projects.
Oh, yes.
Because you need a lot of empathy in order to be able to listen the right way.
Yes. After all, everything we create is for people. And it is for creating a workplace. You're creating an environment that will help the people, support the people in it to perform at their very best. And that means understanding how they would like to work to be effective at what they do, how to make them comfortable, how to make them feel supported.
Yeah.
Right? So it's all about people.
Yes.
We provide environments, facilities, spaces, offices, workplaces for people. So we have to be thinking about people.
Yes.
And that requires empathy, as you mentioned.
Yes. Before I start, I want to ask you a lot of details about how do you, let's say, from an empathetic attitude and a lot of technical skills, then you channel all of these different needs of the client into a solution. I want to ask you something that regards also more attitude than the qualifications. Especially nowadays, we were discussing before we started the official conversation how technology has evolved. I say every year, every month, and you corrected me every week probably, and you are right. For an individual is difficult, but for a firm, for a corporation like yours, it has to be even more difficult in order to keeping pace with all of the change. How do you foster the attitude towards innovation within your team? I think this is something that I'm very curious about, because you have such a large firm. How do you inspire your collaborators?
Well, we talk a lot. We talk a lot, we communicate a lot. When someone comes up with a new idea or has discovered a new technology or a new methodology, a new capability, we spread it as quickly as we possibly can. And we invite new ideas in from every corner of the firm. It's definitely not a process.
Yep.
It isn't a cut and dry, do this, do this, do this, do this. Definitely not. Every project we do is different. Every client we work with is different. So we have to be constantly innovative in the methodology that we use to really create the best solution and make the client very comfortable and feeling that, oh, yes, this is what I need. This is what I want. So, I don't know, did I
No, no,
stray
no,
off
no, no.
the
You did, you
subject
did,
there?
you did. And actually, it's a very good segue. If I could just stay silent and use your answer as a segue into what I wanted to ask you next, because at the end of the day, it's all about what the message I'm getting it's a question about how to find the right people to be able to tailor solutions especially made for specific individuals or specific organizations. At the end of the day, an organization is like a living being, just made of
Oh,
many
yeah.
different parts. Uh, you're I think the edge that you have, this attitude towards multidisciplinarity. It's interesting when we come down even to each and every single solution. For example, if you allow me to go a little bit, these people-centric techniques and technology. How can emotion-based design improve the wellness and the performance of the workforce?
Well, if you're too cold, it's going to be hard to work well, right? You want to bundle up and keep yourself warm, and it's hard to think. Okay, if you don't have enough fresh air, you can't think clearly. Okay, so the actual physical environment that we create supports your emotional well-being,
Aha.
right? If you don't have enough light, you're going to get sleepy. If you don't have enough fresh air, you're going to get tired. And so your well-being depends on the environment that you have. And it's our job to create that kind of an environment that will support the well-being. And it's the physical well-being is the basis for the emotional well-being. Okay.
I understand. What about, for example, I think colors. I've always, let's say, been explained that by the obvious example of Fernando. Have you ever seen a hospital in red? Red puts people on edge, so that's why you shouldn't use this type of colors if you want people to feel at ease. How does this translate into the workplace? What type of, let's say, are there different needs for different use of colors? Is there, let's say, a good dogma that people should follow?
Oh, I wouldn't say there's a dogma. There's never a dogma. But I think it's, you think about color, and there are certain colors that we are responsive to, like green. This is, green using biophilia in the workplace creates, well, it cleans the air, it helps to clean the air, but it also makes you feel much more comfortable. That natural environment, right?
Yes.
Natural light, taking advantage of whatever windows you have for the maximum number of people in the workplace really helps to lift the spirits, right? So there, and of course this goes into in neurodiversity issues, right, which are more and more relevant now for so many of our clients. An example is, I could give you an example.
Yes, please.
HSBC in New York, the headquarters, we did for them 230,000 square feet in New York. Neurodiversity, addressing those issues is very important. And we framed a phrase, KIND, K-I-N-D, keys to inclusivity and neurodiversity design, okay? So that we could offer, because so many businesses have found that neurodiverse individuals are really very important for them. They can be productive in many, many ways if they have the right environment to work in, right? So color, having the choice to find a quiet room, getting away from noise,
Yep.
from the, a badly designed HVAC system is going to drive you crazy anyway. So these are all very important for neurodiversity. And if you think about it, they're also important for all of us in
Yes.
terms of wellness.
Yes.
And wellness is a very, very important focus that we have in designing the workplace environment for our clients.
Yes. I think when I was reading about neurodiversity, um, my first thought after I finished one of the articles was maybe I am neurodiverse after all, because one of the things I wanted to bring up to you, it's a little bit off topic, but let's say within the theme that we were speaking about is open spaces. I think I remember when I started working around 15 years ago, the dogma again for office buildings was open space. Everyone is on an open space. And I found it dreadful because I believe to be an outgoing person. I love to speak with people, but when I'm working, I like to be isolated. Otherwise, I just cannot concentrate. I cannot write the simplest email. If there are people talking on the phone, or I prefer to go into the toilet and just write it from there. So I imagine that this is very important. When did someone stand up and say this is not working? Because I remember, banks. I used to work for Airbus Military, so let's say big engineering firms, and it was a total nightmare. So I'm very happy it evolved. I celebrate people like you that enable for adaptation for a better performance at the end of the day.
Well, you need a mix of spaces.
Yeah.
For different activities, for different personalities, at some point in time, you may need to get together in a large group of people.
Yeah.
To get something done, a meeting, for example, but then there are other times, as you said, when you want to be able to work by yourself. But I think what I would like to mention about this is that one of the things that is so important in the way we address these issues and look for the solutions is that we take the role of the lead consultant. And the word leading is important here.
Okay.
Because certainly, we cannot necessarily do everything that is necessary for a 500,000 square foot project. We are going to be bringing others from outside in to work with them, but we need to lead them and to knit that all together.
Okay.
Because we have the broader understanding of the issues that the client is facing, the problems they need to solve, the goals they want to achieve. So that kind of bringing together and collaborating, I always do it like this, the fingers entwined, right? That is so essential to the way we work. And unfortunately, in our industry, many firms are still siloed. So that's something that we, as the lead consultant, something that we really need to overcome.
Yeah, but Moira, I think that in order not to be siloed, you need to have a very courageous and daring attitude towards life in general. I think being siloed is, by the way, this is meant to be a big compliment. Being siloed, I think, is the natural way of being of many people. When you open, let's say, to cross collaboration, when you said, okay, I'm going to tell you what I do because I don't fear that you will copy me. I know that you will elevate me. I think the natural tendency for a lot of firms, and again, firms are like people, so or is to close themselves. So by being open, I think you enable a lot of these, let's say, cross collaborations and improvement of the status quo.
Well, certainly being open has helped us internally as well,
Yes.
because that leads to exchanging ideas and knowing that we can build on each other's strengths. If you follow your passion and collaborate with your colleagues, you're going to find solutions that are going to be really the very best at the moment. There's always a better solution tomorrow.
Yep.
And that's what we always have to be looking for, of course.
Yes, it's 100%. This daring attitude also, I think, is triply necessary in a moment in which not only we are discovering that uh, by meeting different needs of people, we can perform better, we can have better functioning companies, but also we can have companies that are more respectful with the environment and with the sensibility of the society. Another big topic of pretty much across all industries is sustainability. How do you, let's say, integrate the concept of sustainability in your practice when it comes to choose the choice of materials, systems, etc.?
Okay, well, yes, that is a major issue, sustainability. And it's something that we do address constantly. Of course, all of the suppliers now are beginning to be aware of this in terms of the embedded carbon in their materials. And they are giving you their ratings. It's very hard to really depend on them, because just think about the chair you're sitting in.
Yep.
How many different pieces from how many different parts of the world came together?
Yes.
So it's really hard. But for the operational carbon, reducing the emissions and still maintaining the wellness of the occupants, right? You think about that's where our engineering capabilities come in, because combining sustainability and engineering and technology, those three, as one area that works together constantly, which is what we do, enables us to create environments that are responsive to occupancy, that will maintain the fresh air, the temperature, the comfort level, still in an individual space, giving you the opportunity as the occupant to override that,
Okay.
not taking away that, that ability. But in the broader areas, and, we use the digital twin to do that,
Yes.
which is a wonderful technology that is becoming more and more powerful, which allows us to maintain an optimum environment in a workplace and at the same time reduce the carbon emissions. Now, in a workplace, you have materials that chairs, tables, desks, whatever it happens to be. Okay, that's fixed. You've gotten that. That's there until you renovate or something later on. But you operate the facility every single day.
Yes.
So the impact of reducing the emissions from reducing the operational carbon emissions is really greater in workplace environments. We've done this most recently for HSBC in New York.
Okay.
Using our digital twin technology, where we're the lead consultants for that project, the 230,000 square foot project in New York. And we were able to maintain platinum wellness and platinum LEED, where we reduced the energy use by 27%.
No.
Now
It's
that's not a little tiny number. That's a
no, no.
lot.
I got silent there for a moment, and I'm not going to pretend that David edits it out because we should leave the silence in. He was the one. He was the one when we entered the office and we looked at the digital twin that you have here. He was the one that I pointed out. Wow, they saved this amount of tons of CO2. No, it's something extraordinary. A digital twin, just as the way I interpret it, is an interface that you have that allows you to, with one glance, understand all of the engineering parts of the workplace and balance the usage
Yes,
for an
yes,
optimal
yes,
well-being and energy
yes,
savings.
yes,
Correct?
yes. The digital twin replicates the physical environment in the cloud
Okay.
and then sends instructions back to the physical and the engineered environment to modify or change parameters to keep the balance that you're looking for. So
Amazing.
what you
Amazing.
see is, of course, a visualization of it, but that's just for so that you know what's going on.
Exactly. The system is
That
behind.
screen doesn't do it. It's all within the engineering and the capability of the digital twin itself.
Amazing. Moira, we're talking a lot about technology today, and I think it's helping a lot of people probably understanding why you've gotten where you are, and why you will keep going. No one knows where. Uh, so I want to ask for your 2 cents or your $2 if you allow me,
Two
with
sentences.
with the biggest topic of our moment, which is AI. Um, how this artificial intelligence do you think is going to be integrated in the future design firms workflow, in the engineering, in the delivery of your industry?
It's happening every week.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite amazing. It's very exciting. We are using, well, basically, we're using ChatGPT, and just a few weeks ago, the newest version, the O1, came
Yep.
out, which is so much more powerful, particularly in the STEM areas: science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, right? So we're using that already as much as we can. We know that another thing will be coming out next. It's almost every week now.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep up.
If you go on holiday, then you're left behind.
Yeah, that's true. But I think what is equally important is not only how we use it internally, but understanding how it is changing the way our client organizations work. This is really, really important because as their way of working changes, the way we design their workplace has to change as well,
I see.
right? Now, what is happening is that with AI technologies for everyone, the routine, repetitive, rote things are being automated, right?
Yep.
So as we look at our client organizations, at these businesses, the variety of businesses, this is happening for all of them. And what it means is that the workplace is becoming more and more the location for innovation, creativity, presentation, the human interaction
Yes.
aspects, right? And the remote work will be automated.
Yes.
You could do it at home, but you may not even have to do it. Somebody, it'll be done. It'll get done. So this really is changing the kind of workplace that our clients need. Right? For us, it is enabling us to understand more broadly what is available, what can be done in each in all areas to actually be much more knowledgeable in working with various consultants who may have a specialty that we don't have, but with artificial intelligence capabilities, and I go back to GPT-01, we can learn a lot about what they do so that we can talk to them intelligently.
Yes.
And we can collaborate with them much more effectively.
Yes.
Which leads to a better result for our client. That's the whole point of all of this.
Yes. I love your optimism and I share it. Some people, again, and it goes back to the daring and courageous attitude. Some people are, I think, have been waiting for the doomsday since they were born. And some other people embrace change. And when I started having an intuition of what artificial intelligence could be, I said, humans, we're not going to be relegated. We're going to be even more important. We are just have we're going to be superhumans probably, and we need to be able to understand how to behave like superhumans. But nowadays is from doing serious tasks like trying to understand someone that is a specialist and trying to educate yourself, even by saying, please explain this topic as if I was 15. And I use that all the time. I have a 4-year-old, and I like to, instead of, I find that kids, how to say, narrative for kids is pretty poor these days. So what I do is I tell ChatGPT, can you please write a story in 10 minutes for a 4-year-old about the Quixote? And they tell me the Quixote or the Dante stories and everything, and it's beautiful. But people still will be important, especially because now technology is way more ubiquitous than it was before, and everything, even electronic communications are better and are more accessible. They're also easier to be faked. So the personal interaction is even more important than before.
Oh, yes, sure. Well, the technology is a tool.
Yes.
It's not going to take over what we do.
Yep.
But I think what we can say is that those who do not bring technology into their lives as a tool are going to be left behind.
Yes.
So it's not going to take the place of people.
Yes.
Right. But it's a great tool.
It's a great tool. It's a great tool.
I'd like to just talk about a little bit, if I may, about, I told you about HSBC, but I wanted to also mention to you, you're asking me about the projects that we do, but there's one project that we have recently done here in Hong Kong for Park Re, a reinsurance company, which later on, maybe I can show you a video.
Yes, please.
Which will be very nice because it's the client's comments about what we did, where we were taking a rather difficult physical architectural space and transforming it using our engineering and our design capabilities into a space that really responds to what they were looking for. And actually, I was very happy to hear them say that it was actually more than they had anticipated. That's really the best kind of a compliment that you can get from the client, that it's more than they anticipated. So I just wanted to mention that so we don't forget that.
No. Thank you for bringing it up. Because I skipped ahead a few things, but no, it's and it's I understand what you're saying, and I think with, again, circling back, we are going to always be able to go that extra mile and to, let's say, focus on having this type of satisfaction. the question that I had for closing the interview was regarding this fourth industrial revolution that we are in. But you replied before I even asked. I want to ask you something different instead. What is next for M Moser Associates? How do you see the firm evolving in the next 10, 20, 30, 50 years? What is your vision for people that are listening and watching us today?
Okay, well, the next 50 years I won't be here, okay? But, well, I might be here, but I doubt it. But there's always going to be something new that is required by the way our work lives change.
Mhm.
There's always going to be something new that is created to allow us to move ahead in providing a solution
Mhm.
to that requirement. And I think what is most important is simply being open to whatever comes along. I cannot see that far into the future. It's happening so rapidly. Changes are happening so rapidly. The most important thing is to be open to change, to be excited by the possibilities, and to be curious and wonder, what can we do with this that will really help our clients?
I
So
think
that-
I think it's a beautiful message, and I thank you very much. I think you look. You send us into the weekend because again, this is the last meeting of the week, full of energy.
Okay.
I hope that people in the audience have the energy that you have. The world would be very different if this was the truth. So please, I suggest that you try to replicate the passion that I have perceived in all of this conversation. I am extremely thankful for again this push that you have given us, the invitation to come to your office. And for spending the time with me,
Well,
sharing,
thank you.
sharing the way you view the world, and making me now understand everything that I have studied. Now that I've spoken with you, every separate topic that I've studied of M Moser Associates makes total sense. There is a love of people, a love of
yeah.
understanding people, and the drive to always have fun
Oh, yes.
while doing
Oh,
things.
yes. Oh, yes.
So Moira, thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you
you.
everyone, and guys, enjoy the weekend. Be happy and work hard. It's the only way.
Oh, well, don't start by working hard. This is really important. There's a little additional message.
No.
Okay.
This one I love. Don't start by working hard.
That's at the bottom of the list.
Okay.
The top of the list is, what do you want to achieve? And then, what are the circumstances you're dealing with?
Mhm.
And then, what is the problem or the opportunity? What is the solution that would address the problem or the opportunity? And then you can.
And then you work hard. I stand corrected today several times, and I love it. Thank you very much. No, I think you're right. You are totally right. You're totally right.
Okay.
I'm going to totally change the way I look at things. I promise you, because sometimes when you are when you want to achieve something, the easy solution is let's work hard. But yeah. I get away of this conversation super humbled and super happy and super
Okay.
thankful.
Thank you
one
so
more
much.
time, Moira.
Thank you very much.
I hope you had a nice time.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. All right. I hope you had fun. I really had a nice